behind closed doors. I'm a fool for your love.
My name's Anthony, and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment. It's time for the Anthony James Show, and once again, another round of NFL Power Rankings. Last week, I was pretty happy. I had a good week. A lot of the teams stayed where they were. This week, not as good of a week. I had 13 wins last week. It's hard to repeat that. But beyond that, I look at this week. It's more like that equalizer week where there are some big moves, I'm sure. The last couple, yeah, there's been people who've complained about teams, but I'm sure this one you guys will have a lot to complain about because I'm moving a lot of teams in a lot of spaces. If you remember, I try not to move teams more than 5 spots. I think there's 1 or 2 occasions where I do it more than that. But in general, let's get into this because there are a lot of teams that moved, except for the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the only ones that stay in the same spot. Congratulations, they're looking really good. Falcons, they're number 2, move up 2 slots. It's not that I think they're doing a really good job, but they are 3-0. No other team has a better record in the NFC, and outside the Chiefs, nobody else is undefeated. Number 3, the Patriots, they also move up 2 spots. For me, I look at the Patriots, they're a good team. We all know that. They had a great come-from-behind win against the Texans, but I think there are some worries about this team. I assume a lot of people thought the Patriots would be number 1 in the power rankings at this point in the season. It's not the case. It's kind of strange. Number 4, the Packers. I move them up 2 slots. I didn't really want to move them up 2 slots after how they played against the Bengals. I didn't think they were necessarily a top 5 team, but the choices I had besides them, I thought this was probably the best team to put here. The Packers did not play well against the Bengals, and the way the Vikings and the Lions have been playing this season, that could be worrisome. They have to face the Vikings pretty soon. I don't remember when they faced the Lions for the first time. They face the Bears this week, so if they end up having an upset there, the Packers aren't doing as well as I think a lot of people, including myself, expected at this point in the season. Then again, that's usually how the Packers are at the start. Next, the Pittsburgh Steelers drop them down 2 slots. Could have dropped them more, I guess, but in terms of the teams that I'd move up, I thought this was the best choice here. Didn't have a good week against the Bears. I can't say I'm shocked. For some reason, they're a different team on the road, and the Bears are actually not that bad at home. I'll give them that. Number 6, the Titans, move them up 3 spots. I'm sure there's people who expect the Titans to be a top 5 team. I don't know. They did play well. I'll give them that, but I'm not high on the Seahawks to begin with, and you'll see about that in a little bit. Next, the Cowboys move them up 3 spots to 7. They did well on Monday Night Football. I think they're back. If people were worried about them after week 2, they're still here. Number 9, I moved the Broncos down 1 spot. I guess I could have moved them down more. I didn't think I needed to, though. I think the Broncos, I skipped over the Oakland Raiders. Wow, I think that's the first time I've done that. I got to talk about the Raiders for a second. At number 8, I moved them down 6 spots. I kind of wanted to move them down more than that, though. I had 10 and 6. That's why I have them at the end of the season. I'm not that high on the Raiders to begin with, so the fact I've had them that high for 2 weeks in a row, because they were number 2 the previous 2 power rankings, I was kind of surprised in any regard. I look at the Raiders. I think this week really proved that they're not one of the best teams in the AFC. They're one of the better teams, but to really put them as a top 2 or 3 team, I think that's pushing it. That's for sure. Number 9, the Broncos. I moved them down 1 slot. They lost against the Bills team that really they should have beat. Oh, well, you didn't. Just don't do that again, right? I don't think the Broncos are a bad team because they lost to the Bills. The way they've started out the season, I think it's a bad idea to assume the Broncos are bad just because they lose to the Bills. Number 10, I actually move up the Lions 2 spots despite a loss. Barely was a loss. I can tell you if I was a Lions fan, I'd be pissed, even though it was obvious that, yeah, that was the wrong call. But still, to call it a touchdown, then change it, I'd be pissed. But yeah, the Lions lose. I move them up 2 spots, though. Big challenge this week against the Vikings. Whoever wins that is in a good position for the NFC North, at least at this point in the season. Number 11, move the Eagles up 4 spots. I'm sure Eagles fans would tell me that's not near where they should be. Oh, well, the Eagles have played decent football. That's why I move them up 4 spots. Don't be too upset. The Redskins, they also played some good football. I moved them up 5 spots. Good move there. They played really well against a Raiders team that a lot of people were high on coming into the season. My Vikings, I also moved them up 5 spots. I try not to be really nice to my Vikings. I tried to be a bit harsh on them, which you could argue that's why they've been lower in my power rankings. But they played really well against a team I'm pretty high on in the Buccaneers with a backup quarterback. I got to give them credit where credit is due there. Talk about that Buccaneers team. I believe they have the biggest drop this week. I move them down 7 spots. Didn't necessarily want to do that, but they did not play well against Minnesota, and considering they've only played 2 games, no bye week this year, ooh, that's going to be hard to recover from. But not the end of the world, but you can't keep playing like that. Panthers, they had a poor game, shouldn't have lost, really. I was surprised they ended up losing here, and it wasn't close to the Saints. At home, that's bad. So I moved them down, could have moved them down more than 4 there at 15. Number 16 to finish the top half, move up the Rams 5 spots. They've done really well this year, and I don't think people are talking about them nearly enough. I can definitely say I wasn't too high on them coming into the season. However, I got to give credit where credit's due. I can't say I'm shocked that they're doing well, and to me, I was kind of waiting for this point to happen. I am not high on the Cardinals whatsoever, which you can see in my rankings. But I think the Rams might be the best team in the NFC West. Yeah, I'll say it now. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the division. The Seahawks have not played that well. I'm not high on the Seahawks coming into the season, and they've proven me right thus far. That offensive line is horrible. Jared Goff stepped up for the Rams. Their offensive line's improved from last year, and both teams had pretty bad offensive lines. Whew. And I'll talk about the Seahawks again. I mean, they moved down in my power rankings. I moved them down 3 spots. They're now below the Rams. They're no longer in first in their division in terms of my power rankings. And there's a chance that's how the season will end. Just giving you a warning. Number 18, the Texans. I actually moved them up 2 spots despite the loss. It was a close game. And to me, the way they played against the Patriots despite the loss, it really showed me that the Texans are a decent team. They can be a playoff team. They lost on the road in a very close game that many people thought they'd win towards the end. The Giants moved them down 6 spots to 19. Maybe I should have moved them down more. They have not been playing that well. Tough game next week, too. They have to play the Buccaneers. I'm high on both of those teams, so whichever team loses that is not in a good position. Oh, boy. But talk about a team that surprised just about everybody. The Jacksonville Jaguars move them up 4 spots to 20. They're looking decent, and I'm happy about that. Good for the Jaguars. Let's keep seeing that. They destroyed the Ravens, who last week you were all telling me, oh, the Ravens are so low. And while I did say 19 was a little bit low for them, they kind of proved it to me this week why they were number 19 last week. Ugh, the Ravens. We'll get to them in just a quick second. The Dolphins move them down 5 spots to 21. Wow, I cannot believe they weren't able to beat the Jets. I never had them going 0-16, but there were people who have them going 0-16. I think I have them at 1-15, maybe. No, I had them at 2-14. So here's one of their 2 wins. Wow, that was a bad game for the Dolphins. Number 22, yeah, the Ravens. I did drop them 3 spots, a little bit more than I wanted to, considering they are 2-1. However, I wasn't high on them to begin with. Remember last year when the Ravens were 3-0 and what happened to them? I know, same thing happened to the Vikings. Whatever. But the Ravens, people were kind of high on them at the beginning. I'm like, hold your horses. I think we're going to do that again this season too, because there are a lot of better teams in the AFC than the Ravens, plain and simple. Bills move them up 2 spots to 23. They're an interesting team to me. They're doing better than I expected at this point in the year. We'll see how they can do throughout the season. The Colts, I move them up 3 spots to 24, maybe a little bit high, but Jacoby Brissett is looking good. He's looking like a franchise backup quarterback. Who knows if he keeps playing well? This could be a Matt Castle situation for the Colts. They could be able to trade him, and maybe not a first-round pick, but a second or third-round pick. I don't think that's out of the question. So that'd be a pretty good deal for them. 25, the Cardinals, move them down 2 spots. Not looking good. Yeah, the Cowboys are a good team, but a loss is a loss. Ugh. I don't know why people are high on the Cardinals. I saw people with the Cardinals in the playoffs. Oh, boy, they're proving me right week in and week out. Not a good team. Jump off that bandwagon if for some reason you're still on it. Number 26, the Saints move them up 2 slots. They had a good win against a team that I consider a playoff team in the Panthers, even though they haven't played that well throughout this season. I will admit that. But a good win here. If they want to have any hopes of doing something this year, you need to beat divisional opponents, and that's exactly what they did. Chargers move them down 5 spots to 27, 0-3. I know, another team where people had them going to the playoffs. I couldn't believe it. They are the number 4 team in the AFC West. I had that coming in the season, and thus far, I have been proven right. Ouch, they are not looking good. You have 2 teams in the Raiders and the Broncos who are 2-1. You have the Panthers, the Chiefs at 3-0. Then you have the Chargers at 0-3. Yeah, they're far behind the other 3 teams. Bad team in the Chargers. Jump off that bandwagon if for some reason you're on that. The Bears move them up 3 spots to 28. Good win here. I could move them up more. Yeah, they were able to beat the Steelers. They're not a great road team, but a win's a win, and that's a good one of the better AFC teams, so congratulations. The Bengals move them down 3 spots. They choked, should have beat the Packers. What an embarrassment. This franchise has been a bad team this year. I wonder if this is Marvin Lewis's last stand. The Jets move them up 2 spots to 30. While I don't think they're the 30th best team in the league, I still think they're probably the worst. They did win, and the 2 teams below them didn't. 49ers fall 1 to 31. And then you have... Oh, excuse me. Hold on. Then you have the Browns down at... let me rephrase this. I'm sorry. You have the Browns at 31, and you have the 49ers at 32. You won't see it in the description. It's all fixed. But for me, I just put the Bears down there for some reason. My apologies. It was something in my fix. But hey, good thing I did the video before I sent out the 32-team list. But that is my power ranking. Tell me what you think in the comments section below, what you agreed and disagreed with. I'm sure you all have your opinions, and I'd love to hear them. If you're new, you can follow me on Twitter at FEAnthony. Link in the description, and subscribe to my channel, the Fairview Entertainment Network. I do NFL videos there too. Both of those links are in the description. And of course, subscribe to Sports Fan Entertainment to see plenty of great people on this channel. That's it for now. Hope you enjoyed this power ranking, and until next time, this is Anthony, and I'm out. See you all later.
Behind closed doors, I'm a fool for your love.